Hey everybody, this is Colin and Steven back for week 25, I believe. That means we should have um 1000 the first week and then 2400. So 3400 for our total cost. Or
Yeah.
no. Yeah. 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 Okay. So, is there anything you want to chat about before we go into our portfolios this week? I don't really have anything.
Yeah. So crypto bounced back a little bit this week. It's reading, it looks like a lot of it was due to some anticipation of Ethereum's big merge having a set in stone date. And that's the merge of the beacon chain to the main chain, whatever it's called,
Yeah. Yeah.
which basically means they'll be switching from proof of work to proof of stake, which will drastically reduce gas fees for any Ethereum based transactions. So, yeah, they announced a date for that, and there's a lot of positive sentiment around that appears to be driving a bit of a rally, particularly with Ethereum.
I'm not very optimistic that gas fees will go down. Uh, because I think that's in a different update. The merge is just a merge. There's a scaling up, but I think gas fees are pretty low right now, anyways. So I don't think it's a big issue. It's not like $200 to send, send your $5 anymore, which were some crazy times. But yeah, no, very exciting. Um, Odd because I mean, they've said a few concrete dates in the past, and they're like, no, we're moving it next year. Um, but there is a lot more going on this time. They have um, on their test chain, things have things have been going well. So um, you're right, it might actually happen this time on time. So we'll have to see. Um, Big dump right after. You think so? Buy the
Well,
rumor,
I
sell the
guess the
news.
next thing is the next Fed in the U.S. Their interest rate announcement is this coming week. So
Oh yeah.
if that
Predictions.
if
Let's
that's yeah
do
if that's a percent, then probably things will go down again. But
yeah.
there was kind of a general rally across the market, I think, this week, which I guess we'll see in a minute here with our portfolios. But yeah, we'll see if the Fed does a big hike, that could kind of undo that probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw somewhere, and I don't know if this is true, but if it is 1%, it's something apparently they've never done before.
Oh,
Which
really?
we should actually fact check that. I don't know. I don't know. This requires more extensive research. But in
Yeah.
either case, 1% would be huge for the U.S. Canada seemed to take it pretty well, even though, like you said, it hasn't been done in 30 years. I think everybody's just sick and tired of inflation at this point, and they're like, yeah, just just do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna
Although
jump to my. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
although the central banks are not being super pessimistic about inflation dropping anytime soon, still, even with
Yeah.
the increases in the interest rates.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere that like people should just be prepared for a year of real bad inflation.
Okay, so like we were saying earlier, week 35 should have 3400. Um, so I'm down about $500. Uh, a lot of it, percentage wise, a lot of it in crypto. TFSA, it's improved quite a bit since we last saw it 2 weeks ago, even though it's still down 10%. I was down, I don't know, quite a bit more 2 weeks ago. So that's where we're at for week 35. I bought two things in the last 2 weeks. The first one is just the Vanguard S&P 500 index. So we've talked about that in the past weeks. And the second thing is Nvidia Corporation. If you're a gamer or built your own computer, you will know what Nvidia is. They make graphics card units mainly. Uh, and they are in direct competition with AMD, which is Advanced Micro Devices. Uh, Recently in the U.S., they've signed in. Um, I forget the actual name, but it's like a microchip. Microchip. Um, I don't even know what it is. Is it a bill? Have you heard about this, Steven? Maybe
I've
you can
heard a
help me on this.
little bit about it only in the context of Nancy Pelosi has like millions of dollars invested in this industry. And so
Yes, she
that's coming
does.
under a lot of scrutiny for like pushing this bill forward.
Isn't it's kind of offshoot building on to like the shortage of the microchips overall, and this is the first thing that they're considering putting through, um, and placing investment um, in chip makers domestically, providing support. So in the last little bit, they've had a bit of a run, but Nvidia is also just a very good corporation. Their products are well received. They're typically, they are a leader in this space. Let's go back to 5 years. 5 years, 320. So triple your investment in 3 years. More when we were looking back back in November. But yeah, overall a solid company. And while I do have a lot of tech companies, um, I don't have as much investment in semiconductors and chip makers and the like. So this is more towards that area of the space. So yeah, those were my two buys in the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks. Yeah, there's nothing much to say. Even you're muted.
Yeah, I guess you have a bit of. I think you bought some Taiwan semiconductor or
Yeah,
something a
I
while
do have
ago.
Taiwan TSM, uh, but I think with the shortage in general, they got despite the demand rising, they got hit a bit hard a couple years back, and they haven't really fully recovered. I don't think they should be where they should be at this point. Um, and I think there's a lot more room to grow, even with the increasing interest rates. So picked
Yeah.
it up.
Cool. Yeah. So not super eventful on my end either. The last couple weeks here. Week one, I bought some shares of the US index fund and the Canadian index fund, and a few shares of the crypto index funds for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then for week two, I just bought some shares of the index ETFs, one of the European one and two of the Canadian one. And then I didn't quite have enough to buy anything else that I wanted to buy. So I actually just left 23 bucks in cash. So I'll spend that next time here. Um, but yeah, nothing too crazy here. Yeah, before I bought my week one, I was down 481. Before I bought my week two, I was down 304, and then it went up a little bit after that. Or no, it went back down a little bit after that. But still, in the last 2 weeks, I've gone from down 15% to down 9.5. So I actually came back about 5.5% over the last 2 weeks, which is pretty solid. But yeah, like we were talking about before, we'll have to see how the next Fed rate hike impacts that. But yeah, you can see particularly in crypto, we talked about that Ethereum rally there. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago it was at a $200 loss, and it's currently down 135. So it came back quite a bit there. One other thing I've added here actually that I can chat about, I've added in the yields of all these ETFs. So that's dividend percentage as a percentage of the value of the one share of the ETF. So yeah, added in all of those, and then calculated the weighted yield based on how much of my portfolio each one makes up. So you can see here, the indices all have actually pretty decent yields. And then this finance ETF has a pretty solid one, and this oil and gas one has a pretty solid dividend. Overall, you can see how those yields are as a percentage of the whole portfolio when you take weighting into account. Yeah, so overall earning just under 2% yield across all the investments, which is
Nice.
not fantastic, but not terrible. I wasn't really building it with the intention of having like a dividend, I guess a focus on dividends, but yeah, just with what I've purchased, it's around 2%. That would be an annual yield. So yeah, nothing too crazy going on there this week.
Perfect. That was a great little update. I have nothing else to say. So unless you have anything else, Steven,
Nope.
we will see everybody in week 27. And that will be past our halfway mark too. So
oh yeah, hey, I guess.
Yeah.
What's halfway mark would be
52 weeks, right?
26 is the halfway, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Sweet.
Okay. See you guys in 2
Bye.
weeks.